Hello there dear YouTubers, my name is King1993 and today I'll be doing another review of the best weapon for the best type of Valkyrie there is in the game. Okay, so before starting this video I would like to say please like and subscribe and click the bell notification icons to get more of this type of video on a regular basis. Okay, it really helps. So anyway, today's Valkyrie will be Fuhua, or in the game she is often referred to as Fuka. I think there is some type of translation error which is why it is happening. Okay, anyway, so Fuhua is six characters. There are six type of characters available in the Fuhua Valkyrie set. Okay, uh, two of them are lightning damage dealer. Two of them are fire damage dealer. These two are fire damage dealer, and these two are actually physical damage dealer. Okay, so based on their damage dealing types, the weapon they have are also important. Also, most of the weapon they are used might be outdated. For example, this Cider Hawk is a fire dealing damage dealer weapon, but there are other good options available. Okay, so let's go to the weapon section and select the 2-star weapon. So this is the weapon which is available by default. Okay, this weapon is highly useless one, and I suggest that you guys do not upgrade it, but I would only suggest that if you had options, right? But you don't have any option, you have no choice but to use this 2-star weapon and upgrade it. Why is that? Why am I telling you to upgrade this and you guys have no choice? That is because, look, at 3-star level there is no weapon available for Fuhua. I do not know why it happened. So this is another exception. Okay, so once you have this 2-star weapon, upgrade it to its full potential and play the game, and eventually once you get to the 4-star level, whichever 4-star weapon you get, just take it. Okay, don't ask question. Now the good one should be, all of them are actually good one. Okay, all of them are actually good one. How do I say that? I say that because if you look at the weapon skill, first of all they have weapon skill, damage and attack and critical. Okay, now this one has a damage of 4.5 and this one has also the damage of 4.5. Now both of these are physical damage dealer. Okay, but the thing is, if this one is equipped on the physical damage Fuhua, then the wielder or physical damage Fuhua will get another 15% physical damage. So basically speaking, if this one is equipped on Fuhua, this one will does more damage than this one. So by default this one is better. And if you have fire damage Fuhua, there are two fire damage Fuhua, then definitely give this one to the fire damage Fuhua, Cash X Saints. Okay, because Cash X Saints is actually a fire damage dealer, and not only that, this is a passive fire damage dealer, so it will have a higher chance of dealing fire damage, and the wielder will also gain 15% more fire damage dealing. Okay, so based on that, I'm gonna say that if your Fuhua is a fire damage dealer, then give her this as a beginner's option. Okay, now normally I would say don't upgrade to 4-star, but since you guys have no 3-star in between, I will have to say once you go to your 2-star and get this weapon immediately, once you have the 4-star, then congratulations, you have upgraded from a beginner to a intermediate player. Now, as I said always, in my previous videos that once you go to the 5-star, you are now, again, congratulations, you have been upgraded to a advanced player, because most of these weapons are not available through grinding. Most of these weapons are available through the use of, what should I call it, crystals. Okay, now there are, these weapons are mostly available because these weapons are mostly Fuhua character signature weapon. Now, not all of them are signature weapon, most of them are signature weapon. For example, Ranger's Gauntlet is available once you play the Chronicles, but this weapon by itself is not actually a, what should I call it? This weapon is not actually a good weapon for Fuhua. Okay. Now, truth to be told, the only Fuhua, I used throughout my entire gameplay was this one, Shadow Knight. Shadow Knight is the only Fuhua that I have played and actually used her a lot. So based on that, all I'm gonna say that, in case if you guys wondering which type of Fuhua I use, I definitely use this Fuhua. Another topic would be is, what about other Fuhuas? Well, I don't actually use them, rather because I don't planning on getting these Fuhua, because the Fuhua characters are a bit tricky to use. Okay, they are not hard, a bit tricky, like your finger need to be extremely balanced in order to use them. And not only that, I have extremely good quality of fire damage dealer. Ice damage dealer I do not have that good quality one. I have extremely good quality fire damage dealer character, so as a result I have not tried to get Fuhua's fire version. Now, in case if you are wondering, then how can I as a guider give you support regarding that? Well, we'll get to that topic a bit later. Okay, don't worry, I will explain to you. So anyway, whichever 5-star gauntlet or 5-star uh, feast you get, make sure to read their description. Okay, why is that? Because description will give you an example which type of weapon is. For example, this is a attack speed gaining weapon. Okay, this has healing capabilities. It will give you attack speed, and it will also recover SP or special point by 13%. So that is that, and this one is a physical attack damage dealing weapon. It does physical damage when the weapon skill is activated, but by passive skill it is capable of giving you lightning damage. So based on that, this one should be considered as a lightning dealing damage dealer weapon for Fuhua. So if you have electric Fuhua, make sure that you give her this weapon. So at its full potential, it will capable of doing 40% lightning damage. So let's say if you have a support leader character who is capable of giving your Fuhua, electric Fuhua, 35% of elemental damage, and your Fuhua already has another 40% lightning damage, so it will give your Fuhua 75% of lightning damage. So a Fuhua who has 75% of lightning damage is gonna be able to destroy most of the enemies very easily in the battlefield. Okay, so do consider of getting Norod's grip for electric Fuhua. What about this one? This one is a physical damage dealer one. Give it to any of the physical damage dealing one. This one is also a physical damage dealer one, and recover HP. Okay, this one is actually a fire damage dealer. So give it to fire damage dealing Fuhua. This one is a physical damage dealer. This one is again a fire damage dealer. This one, it might be I thought it was an electric type. Yes, it does electric damage, but if you read the description you will see that it actually causes physical attack. Now based on that, I'm gonna say this is an extremely high category of 5-star weapon, because having a 1000, or basically speaking 10 times more of this damage, is like 2300 damage, is a lot of physical damage. And defense is also increased by 40%, and bio attack by another 20%. So if you equip this on the physical Fuhua damage dealer, then you could say that this is the best weapon for the physical damage dealers. Okay, now Skull and Hattie, this is also a physical damage dealing weapon, but not as good as this Titan's Fist. Now Feng Huan down is basically a, what should I call it, this is a divine key. So if you have only one of them, both of these can be activated at the same time. Now Nebula's duality is meant to be for the Fuhua, which is capable of doing fire damage, Azura Empyrea, but this is actually a physical damage dealing one. So this one is actually not good for the Azura Empyrea. Okay, now Key of Oblivion is meant for the harsher Fuhua. Okay, so this harsher Fuhua can actually use this as a physical damage dealing weapon. So anyway, I just give you some description which type of weapon is capable of doing which type of damage. Now normally I wouldn't describe to you all of this. I would just say this weapon is best for her, that weapon is best for her. But the main problem is I use Fuhua a lot less. So even though Fuhua can be used as a main damage dealer, the main DPS character, the main problem of that is other characters such as Harsher of Thunder is a good example of our lightning damage dealing, so I do not use this Fuhua. Okay, now anyway, if you are an advanced player, so eventually having a 6-star weapons is gonna be 100% necessary. And if you have this Notus Revenge or Domain of Sanction, then let's say you have about one lightning damage dealer Fuhua and one physical damage dealer Fuhua, then these two will give you the most advantage out of that. Okay, because 6-star weapons by default is far more superior than any other weapon, because the attack damage and the critical damage both are high, and it has 1, 2 and 3 weapon skills. So the 2 of them are passive and 1 of them is active. So based on that, both of these weapons are a top deal. For some reason I didn't got them, because I do not like to spend any crystals on weapons. Why? Because getting each type of Valkyrie character for me is more important than getting weapons. So I have not got this, and these are actually need crystals to in order to make them. So based on that, these are my conclusion in the weapon categories. Now let's go to the characters by themselves to give you proper description, because that is most easier for some other people to consider. As you have seen that I try to make this video in 3 categories. First one is by showing you the weapon categories, okay, and then by talking to you about which type of Valkyrie actually I am talking about, and then again going to this weapon and telling you in the fourth section, because it is the most easiest way for three types of people to understand which type of weapon they should be getting, okay. So do consider that I am doing this in that way so that you will be able to understand it properly. Anyway, let's start. So as I've said, there are three types of physical damage, so three types of damage dealers in the Fuhua character set. So let's talk about these two. For these two, this one was at first called Valkyrie Epicenter, but once you upgrade her, then she will be called Hawk of the Fog. Okay, Hawk of the Fog is her actual name once you get her augmentation open, that is. So Hawk of the Fog is her actual name once the augmentation is on, and every augmentation character is better than their non-augmentation part. So I'll not gonna talk about the non-augmentation part, okay. So why? Because since they are inferior by default, it is not better to waste time on it, okay. Anyway, since these two are physical damage dealer by default, the best weapon which should be available is this Noda's Grief, or the 6 stars part of this Noda's Revenge, okay. Noda's Grief is the 5-star one, and Noda's Revenge is the 6 stars weapon. So both for this Fuhua and for this Shadow Knight, the best weapon is Noda's Revenge, okay. So make sure that you get this Noda's Grief and eventually upgrade it to the 6-star weapon as Noda's Revenge, okay. So this is the best weapon for these two. Now for the physical Fuhua damage dealer, the best weapon for them is not this one, okay. Skull and Hattie is an old version, so do not try to get Skull and Hattie for any of these Fuhua. If you get it by mistake, okay, forget about that. But if you try to put any crystals on the Skull and Hattie, then you are just wasting your crystals. Why are you wasting your crystals? The good example would be is, let's talk about this Fuhua, okay, and let's see what her signature weapon is. Domain of Sentence, or whichever it was before this. Obviously it was a 5-star weapon at first, then it became a 6-star weapon. So what I'm trying to say is, this Domain of Sentience is actually the best weapon for this Fuhua Harsher character, Harsher of Sentience, and for this Night Square. So Domains of Sentience is the best weapon for these two, okay. So do not even try to get them some other weapons. Now as for this Phoenix and Empiria, Azure Empiria, okay, for these two Fuhua, the best weapon for them is actually which one, I have no idea. So let me take a look at it first, and then I'll give you my description. So this is a fire damage dealer weapon, so it is capable of doing 1500 fire damage dealing, and okay, not this, okay, let's see. This is Cider Hawk. Cider Hawk can does 300% damage or 3 times damage dealing. Okay, the best weapon I do suggest for the fire damage dealer Fuhua is this Key of Sentience, okay. This key of sentience is the best damage dealer for the fire Fuhua. So if you do have any Fuhua who is capable of doing fire damage, then this Feng Huan down is actually the best weapon for her. Okay, or rather I would say that Fuhua at first was a fire damage dealing harsher, and then eventually she became these other types. Okay, so if you have any fire Fuhua, just give them the Feng Huan down, so the Feng Huan down will be able to do more damage. So that is actually the updated or the updated version of which damage dealing weapon you should be using on Fuhua. Now this part is done. Now let's go to the forging section. Now for the forging section, do remember that this forging option was not available at first, but now since it is available, let's look at it and how it is goes. Okay. Okay, first is Night Square. Okay, for Night Square, as I have said, Night Square is a physical damage dealer, so the best weapon for her uh, at the beginning, that is, if you want to get her as a beginner's character, then if you try to get this weapon for her, then it will cost about 150 anti-entropy Imagination core. So 150 anti-entropy Imagination core is a lot cheaper than trying to get this Nodus Grief with crystals. Okay, and do remember, Nodus Grief is not best for her. The best weapon for her is this one, Key of Oblivion, which will eventually be changed into Domain of Sentience. So the best weapon for her is by default is Domain of Sentience, but if you want to get a 5-star one at the beginning, then you can get this one. Okay, that is the end of this topic, and let's move on to the next Fuhua. For the next Fuhua is Shadow Knight. Okay, by default, okay, this weapon, the Stellar Vortex, is again good for her if you try to get with this 150 anti-entropy core. But if you do plan on giving her the best quality weapon, then this Nodus Grief, which will eventually turn into Nodus Revenge after upgrading it to 6 stars. So if you wish to give her a best quality weapon, then this Nodus Grief or Nodus Revenge is the best one. Okay, and let's see. No, nothing here. Okay, this one is called Valkyrie Epicenter. I forgot which one this character is. Okay, let me check. I cannot talk nonsense. Okay, this one is also a lightning damage dealer, so based on that, okay, let's see. Valkyrie Epicenter, the best weapon for her is also this one, Nodus Grief or Nodus Revenge, because she again is a physical damage dealer, but once her augmented code get activated, she then becomes a lightning damage dealer. So based on that, Nodus Grief is the best weapon for her, but this is what is available by free. Now 1 2 3, and last but not least is Phoenix. If you have Phoenix in your party, then again this is a good weapon by default, but if you are planning on giving her something better, then Feng Yuan down, which is a fire damage dealing weapon, give her the Feng Yuan down and it will do the maximum amount of fire damage dealing. Okay, so this is my conclusion on which type of weapon you should be using on the Fuhua characters. In case if you are wondering, 1 minute. Which Fuhua has the highest damage dealing. Okay, now these two Fuhua has the highest damage dealing. I am not good at making this one using her ultimate, but this one her ultimate using is very easy to execute. These two are very strong as electric type, and in case of these two physical type, this one is actually not that much good at damage dealing. Her burst is extremely high. Yes, I have used her and I have seen that her burst damage or her ultimate damage is extremely high, but her normal damage is extremely low. And this one is similar as well. Her burst damage is extremely high. I do not know why it is written here low. Her burst damage ceiling is extremely high, and her normal physical damage is extremely low. And for Empiria, I have not used her, but by the majority of the player which I have seen use her fire damage ceiling, she is capable of doing an extremely high amount of fire damage. Normal damage dealing, burst is low, and for support, yes, she is also extremely good at support. She is a good example of high support and damage dealer as well. Okay, the similar thing goes for this one as well. This one who was once before released, many of the people in the industry told the community that she is a physical sorry she was a support uh, character, but many of the people realized that her damage dealing was way beyond a support damage dealer. So eventually the people or the programmer who made her, okay, they said she is an example of both a support and a physical and a main DPS character. Okay, so based on that, I'm gonna say Fuhua is falling into the category of mostly support and high physical damage dealer. Do I use her a lot? No, I don't use her a lot, but I have used her far better than Teresa, because in case of Teresa, I had to do research of which Teresa is capable of doing which type of damage. But in case of Fuhua, I have used these four Fuhua to understand that their damage dealing are far better than any other. Okay.